system. So as Nikkei mentioned, as we've all been sitting, kind of stagnant over the past year and a half, um, it the way that the lymphatic system works is that it requires our movement in order to keep for it to keep moving. And so the more that we move, it moves, and the more that we sit, it kind of sits still. But it has multiple functions. So it's a network of tissues and organs, excuse me, that transports a liquid substance known as lymph throughout the body. And it also transports antibodies like white blood cells to help fight off infections. So that's another reason why it's very important. Pardon me for 1 second. Sorry about that. All right. It also transports fatty acids and fats from our digestive system. So it has many functions, and it's important for our overall health for it to keep flowing, right? So the lymphatic system sits just right under our skin. And it is, like I said, a passive drainage system, so it does require our movement. So basically, in a nutshell, when you think of the lymphatic system, you can just think of our internal detox system, our detoxification system. That's what it does, it detoxes. All right, so how would you know if you're having an issue with your lymphatic system? For me, I started to notice just edema and swelling in my ankle. And started going to different doctors and nobody was able to diagnose, and I kind of just, like I said, just began to research on myself, and ultimately found out that my issues were stemming from my gut health. And since, like I said, the lymphatic system carries the toxins and the waste, it was just being overloaded because my gut was having issues, and so that was spilling literally and figuratively into my lymphatic system. But some other things that you may notice are just overall like soreness and stiffness. If you wake up in the morning and your body just feels really sore for no reason, not from a workout, but just like sore and stiff, that could be a possible symptom. Fatigue, just general fatigue. If you know you've gotten a Yes, I did have leaky gut, Jennifer. Sorry, I just saw it. Yes, I do. And so, yes, so fatigue, overall fatigue. Um, if you know you've gotten enough rest, enough sleep, and you still feel like you're fatigued, and that could be a symptom. Also, brain fog. Sometimes, if you just feel like you're not clear-headed, again, and it's for no reason, no good reason that you can pinpoint. Could be your lymphatic system needs a jump start. Some other symptoms are bloating and dry and itchy skin, and the itchiness, I did have that as well. Cold hands and feet that aren't necessarily related to like anemia. There's something else that it can point to. And also, if your allergies get worse, seasonal allergies, food allergies, all of those can kind of point to issues with the lymphatic system. Any more questions before I keep going? All right. So some of the causes, so we talked about the symptoms, but some of the causes for sluggishness in our lymphatic system: stress. Stress is a big one. And we all know that we need to be able to manage stress, but sometimes you're so stressed that you don't have time to manage your stress, or you're not in the right mindset to try to manage your stress. But it is important to carve out time to do that because it affects our overall health, not just the lymphatic system, but including the lymphatic system. Another thing that can affect it, that can cause it to become sluggish: smoking, prescription drugs. And sometimes those are unavoidable. I'm not telling you not to take your medication, but what I am saying is that it can lead to your lymphatic system becoming sluggish. And so you just want to keep an eye on that and maybe take some precautions to help that keep moving. Toxicity. So I also had some issues with heavy metal poisoning from fillings that I've had in my teeth from a child. So heavy metal poisoning, but you can also get that from drinking out of cans, like soda, pop cans, or some sparkling water like LaCroix comes in those metal cans. So you want to be careful with that. And also cooking with foil. That's another one that can increase your toxicity. But also environmental toxins, things in your home, chemicals. Um, I love an air freshener or candles, but those things give off toxins. And so sometimes those affect our body as well. And the last thing that can kind of cause sluggishness in some people is high meat and dairy intake. And so I'll get to later a little bit more about some things that you can do to help with your diet, but those are some things that cause sluggishness in your lymphatic system. So we talked about stress a little bit. There is a branch of anatomy called metaphysical anatomy that deals with your emotions and how they manifest in your body. And I also believe this played a part in, the issues that I had with my lymphatic system. And so also, of course, we know that emotions and stress are related. You feel overwhelmed, that's an emotion, so obviously that's one thing. But there are other emotions that can get stuck in your body. And if you're not moving them through, they can manifest as physical symptoms. So some of the ones specifically that will affect your lymphatic system are shame, disappointment, resentment, self-sabotaging patterns, holding on to past hurt, not feeling accepted, not feeling good enough. And I know that a lot of times, uh, as women, I know this community is primarily women, or as women, we tend to compare ourselves to others often, and sometimes that can lead to not feeling like you're a good enough person. Or in this day and age where social media is like, everything's in your face, and you scroll through and everybody's life looks perfect, and if you're comparing yourself to others, that can kind of be detrimental to your own emotional well-being. So just keep an eye on that. Those are there I mean, there are things that you can do for that: journaling, meditation, affirmations, things that you can do to help keep your mindset positive. And I know those are things that we focus on here at Nola Movement. So you're in the right place. So yeah, always just try to manage your emotions and your stress, because that can have take a toll on our health, on our physical well-being. So I want to give you guys a few tips to help jumpstart your lymphatic system, things that you can do at home, right? So, one thing, kind of simple, that you can do is to start drinking lemon water. I like to have a little cup of warm lemon water first thing in the morning, because it's really good to have on an empty stomach. Now, I am drinking some right now also, but it's really good to have first thing in the morning. It's a great way to start the day. And I like to have it and then, go meditate. So, lemon water. I just take half a lemon, squeeze it, into some warm water and sip on that. And so that lemon citrus fruits help to cleanse your lymphatic system. And just drinking enough water in general, actually. It's important to stay hydrated. I mean, we all know that, but sometimes you get busy and forget to drink water. I love water, but I know that not everyone does. So just try to, set a timer on your phone or remind yourself to drink water, or give yourself motivation. Some people have water drinking buddies or challenges that they link up with other people to help drink more water. Whatever you can do to help yourself stay hydrated, because it's going to help you. I mean, we're made of water. The fluid in the lymphatic system, is made primarily of water, so you want to keep drinking that to keep everything flowing. I did find a cool website calculator that calculates how much water you're supposed to drink per day. I think the website is slenderkitchen.com. I'm sure if you Google it, you can find it as well. But it it's it's a nice little tool to help you find out how much water you should be drinking. So that might be helpful for you. So another thing that you can do to help jumpstart your lymphatic system at home, and I'm going to start with the at home tips and then we'll work our way out, is dry brushing. So this is another thing that I do. Thank you. So this is another thing that I do in the mornings. I actually do this before I take a shower. So I have one of my dry brushes right here They look like this. They have stiff bristles and wooden handles. They come in different shapes and sizes. They also have the ones that are just, it's like just this piece and it has a little strap for your hand that you can slide it in. And they also have ones with longer handles. I have one of those as well. But I do this. So what you do, you take your dry brush and you brush your skin. A lot of people say toward the heart because the lymphatic system goes toward the heart, toward your heart. Um, so start maybe with the left leg and work your way up, and then the right leg and work your way up. Do your stomach, do your arms, try to get your back as best you can, and then you get in the shower because it will also help exfoliate your skin, but this is getting your lymphatic system moving. So very helpful tool. Also, another thing that you can do, so that's pre-shower, right? You do your dry brushing, you get in the shower, you're all energized. When you get out, if you want to add another step, there's a tool called a strigil. So they don't all look the same, but this is what mine looks like. So you put your hands in here and you just, rub this against your skin. You can use oil to help it move a little better. But strigil, I got this on Amazon. I think it was like 16 bucks. And so you can find one that works for you. And so once you get out of the shower, you can do that to help keep things moving as well. Another thing that you can do for free night strigil, Strigil. All right. So another thing that you can do for free 99 is take deep breaths, breath work. And I know, so if you have ever been or will ever come to one of my yoga classes in the future, I focus a lot on the breath. Breath work is very important and it can help cleanse your body. And I mean, who doesn't feel better after taking deep breaths? Ground yourself. So maybe, just ground your feet and then sit up straight. Or if you're sitting on the floor, sit cross legged, or you can even lie down if you want to enjoy a few minutes of Shavasana on your own. Just take some really slow, deep breaths. And that can help get everything going. It helps calm your mind, calm your body, and it'll help your lymphatic system as well. All right. So another thing that you can do at home is rebounding. Have you ever seen those little mini trampolines? They're called rebounders. And, you can get one sporting goods store or Amazon, pull that out in the morning and just, jump up and down on that for maybe like 10 minutes. It'll get your day started. You can do it at any time of day, but I like to do these things in the morning to kind of set the tone. So that's why I keep saying in the morning. But whenever it fits into your schedule, do it when it's good for you. Another thing that you can do, and kind of I touched on this with the strigil, but you can also do self massage without the strigil. There are videos on YouTube. You can just Google it for self lymphatic massage. Specify that when you do your search, and it'll give you techniques on how to do that on your own. And then one last thing I was going to mention that you can do at home is I love essential oils. I love my essential oils. And I mentioned earlier that citrus fruits were good internally for the lymphatic system. They're also good topically. So if you are someone who likes essential oils, I like to use grapefruit oil for that for the lymphatic system. I'm sure there are others, but that's one of my favorites. Side note, grapefruit oil is actually good for your face too. But it is use it just a little, test it on a bit of your skin first to make sure you're not allergic. I always use it with a carrier oil like grapeseed or, you can use olive oil. I don't use almond because I'm allergic, but you can use that, jojoba, coconut, any oil that you can use as a carrier. Just put a little tiny bit of your grapeseed oil in there, rub it in, use that with your strigil. You can do some of these things together. So I think I saw another question before I move on. Let's see what was in there.
Yeah, there's a question about water. So do you find that half your weight in water in ounces is a good starting point for water consumption?
So I've heard that number before. I will say if you're drinking half your weight in ounces, and you still feel thirsty, because if you feel dehydrated, then you're still not getting enough. Then I would say drink a little more. It's a good place to start. To answer your question, yes, it is a good place to start. Um, but I also don't want people to feel like they have to force themselves to drink water. But please drink more water. Another thing that you can do, if you're someone who doesn't like the taste of water, you can add your citrus fruits into your water. You can add lemon or oranges, grapefruits cut up into the water. Some people also like cucumber, find that refreshing, or cucumber lemon. You can combine it. Limes are good also for cleansing. So if you're having trouble with consuming more water, maybe add a little bit of natural flavoring to it. But yes, that it would be a good number to start with. Okay. So we talked about some things to do at home to improve your lymphatic system. But some other things that you can do are to schedule a massage. A lot of people don't know that there are massage therapists who specialize in lymphatic massage. You have to ask for it. And I didn't know that when I first started getting massages. So I would always ask for deep tissue because that's what I like for the muscles. But for the lymphatic system, it's better to go lighter because I think I mentioned earlier that it sits right under the skin. So if you're going deep, you're actually bypassing the lymphatic system. So that's why when you get a lymphatic massage, it's a lighter touch. Sauna therapy. So sauna therapy is actually really good. I am someone who does not naturally sweat a lot. Even if I'm working out, I could run a mile and I would have like two little beads of sweat right here. So sauna therapy I have found has been really helpful for me because I just don't sweat and I love the heat anyway. So getting in the sauna is not a problem for me. I love it. But that is also something that can help you release toxins and help to jumpstart your lymphatic system. And of course, last but not least, working out. The classes that we take at Nola Movement are fun and they're going to help you get your lymphatic system going. So that's another thing because like I did mention earlier, it doesn't move on its own. It needs us to move it for it to keep moving. So when you move, it moves. The more you move, the more it moves. So keep taking your classes. Any more questions before we keep going? I don't want to get too far, but if there are, okay, I don't see any more in the chat. Anything on Facebook?
Nothing's coming up on Facebook, but this is
Okay.
so good. This there's so much. That's why I'm so glad. Thank you for your time and your energy and your preparation because there's so much um that I did not know. Like
Oh,
I've always seen those brushes in the store, like in the bath
yes.
aisle. I didn't know
Yes.
what those were for.
Yes.
Um,
And make sure you
so
get
if
one with stiff bristles too, because they have some that are a little softer and but make sure it's firm, I should say, so that you're able to, but don't hurt yourself. If you find that your skin is turning
sure.
red, you're doing it too hard. But yes, that's what these are for.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I had no idea, and I don't know about the ladies that are with us on Zoom. If you guys are learning as much as I am, and I'm just amazed by our human bodies are so amazing, and it's all like the more I feel like the more I learn about our physical human body, um, and I better understand the importance of like a truly holistic view of health and wellness
Yes.
because you cannot just do one thing, right, and expect to check all of the boxes of all of the things that your body needs. And it's
Right.
all interconnected. So, like when I hear you talk about the breathing and the affirmations and the meditations, it's like, yeah, that's not just like woo spiritual, like fun stuff, like it actually impacts our physical body and
Exactly.
directly impacts our physical body. And specifically, tonight we're talking about the lymphatic system, but it's like it's all connected.
Very
So
much
yeah,
so.
I'm just blown away.
Well, there's more. So all right. Well, so no, I did want to touch on some of the dietary changes that you can make to kind of help your lymphatic system along. And I know that I mentioned earlier that high meat and dairy intake can kind of weigh down your lymphatic system. So one thing to do, obviously, is to just kind of cut back. I'm not saying that you have to be vegetarian or vegan. I'm just saying maybe have a meatless Monday. Start there, and then try to work toward having more meatless meals. Um, I also am a health coach and like a low key chef. So if you ever need recipes, just let me know because I'm here for it.
Not a
So
low key chef
low
though.
key chef.
Low
I
key?
only
Okay.
I only chef for certain people right now. But yes, yes.
Well, this is on Facebook, so you might be chefing for a whole lot of more people real soon. Just saying.
I welcome it. So, just lowering your meat intake, right? And then increasing the leafy greens, collard greens, spinach, kale, chard. There's so many to choose from, and it's good to rotate them also. So just incorporate more of those. And another thing that's really helpful for the lymphatic system are berries and melons. So, I mean, of course, all fruit, is going to be good for us, but berries and melons specifically help get the lymphatic system going. And I know I've already mentioned the citrus fruits. So, I've been starting my mornings recently with like with like smoothie bowls that I make with mostly raspberry and banana, but sometimes raspberry, cherry, and banana, or, switch it up. I'll add blueberries, but just something, find a way to incorporate more berries. You can put those in your salad. So you can have leafy greens and berries at the same time. You can mix those together. Also, healthy fats, right? So like avocados and nuts. If you don't have a nut allergy, avocados and nuts are really good. I eat avocado every day. Every day. And I know I mentioned this, but increasing your water intake. Right? So we're still talking about dietary changes, and I have to mention it again, increasing your water intake. And last but not least, and I know this is the hardest part for some people, is to cut down on the processed foods and refined sugar. So processed foods, snacks that we all love, things that come in a box, things that come in a package. They have all these extra ingredients that our bodies were not necessarily designed to process. And so when we eat those, often we're weighing down the body's natural systems, right? Yes, they're delicious. Treat yourself. I'm not telling you to never have them, but just cut back on those. Cut back on those and try to eat more whole foods. So, yoga poses. I want to talk about those because, of course, I am a yoga teacher and I want to give you some poses that you can do on your own at home. So, if you are someone who goes to yoga class often, especially a vinyasa class or, anything of that nature, you've done a sun salutation. It's just a series of poses that are always in the same order. And initially, or, historically, I should say, when yoga was first invented, those series of poses were literally meant to be saluting the sun. That's why they're called sun salutations, right? But not everybody remembers that sequence when you're at home and not being led by a teacher. So, one of the best poses to help kind of drain the lymph fluid, because it's going down and then coming back up, right? So if it's getting stuck in your feet like it was for me, you can do the pose called legs up the wall. In Sanskrit, it's called Viparita Karani, but legs up the wall. You literally put your legs up the wall. So scoot your bottom to the wall, and you're going to make yourself into an L shape, and your heels go on the wall, right? So legs straight up, heels on the wall, and your upper body's on the floor, and you just lie there and relax. You can lay there and read a book for 5 minutes or, watch TV, listen to music, meditate, whatever you want to do. But that is an excellent pose for that. Um, I will incorporate that into my next class at Nola Movement. So if you want to come and enjoy that, feel free. But yeah, legs up the wall. And if you don't, for some people, tight hamstrings make it uncomfortable to do legs up the wall. it's okay to keep your knees bent. It's also okay to slide a pillow underneath your lower back so that it's elevated and you have a little more room there. And the hamstrings and your calves don't have to be flush against the wall, but as long as you are a 90-degree angle, then that you're doing it correctly. All right. So another pose, downward facing dog. So I think we all know this one. You're just turning yourself into an inverted V, right? Downward facing dog will help get the lymphatic side. Downward facing dog does a lot, actually. It does a lot to for the body. But one of the things it does is to help stimulate the lymphatic system. So um, a lot of people ask. So this is another one that's sometimes difficult for people with tight hamstrings, right? Your heels do not have to touch the ground. I want you to know that your heels do not have to touch the ground. You can keep your knees bent. In some yoga studios, they have those little cushy triangles that you can put underneath your heels. If you're at home, you can use a folded towel and just let your heels rest on that. If they don't reach the floor, they don't have to reach the floor. Keep your knees bent, keep your arms wide, and try not to let the weight fall down into your neck and shoulders. So you want to keep pressing the earth away from you as you're in downward facing dog. But that's an excellent pose for that. Another restful pose is bridge pose. Bridge pose will help you with getting your lymphatic system going. So, bridge pose. You want to lie on your back with your knees bent and the soles of your feet grounded, right? So, this is another pose where you can take a pillow and slide it beneath your lower back and just kind of rest on that. If you've ever been to a yoga class where you've seen those yoga pillows, they're called yoga bolsters. I should have dragged mine out here, but I don't think it's nearby. Yoga bolsters are good for that, but you can also just use a regular pillow. You can use a pillow off your couch or off your bed or a couple folded towels. Sometimes if you have yoga blocks, you can use that. You can use a stack of books, or you don't have to use anything at all. But you're lying on your back, knees bent, feet grounded, and that will help you too. Just keep your knees hip distance apart and relax into that pose. And you can lie there again, meditate, read, breathe, do your deep breaths while you're there. And the last one I wanted to do or to share with you is just cat and cow, just cat cow pose. So that's when we're hands and knees, right? With our hands shoulder width apart and our knees hip distance apart. And as you breathe, you lower your belly toward the ground and lift your gaze. And then as you exhale, you round your back and look down. So it's cow as you drop the belly down, and then cat as you round the back. And you can do as many rounds of those on your own as you'd like as well. So that's what, 4 or 5 poses that'll help you with your lymphatic system. Anything else? Any questions?
I have a question. Is the strigil metal or plastic?
It's metal. It's
Okay,
metal. Hmm.
thank you.
Sure. Mine kind of looks like a bottle opener to me, but it's definitely, yes, it is metal.
I have a question. So I
Okay.
appreciate all the information and thank you for like ways to get the lymph moving, like particularly.
Hmm.
And this, I don't know if this would be too specific of a question, but is there um anything you would recommend to get the lymph moving, particularly in my arms? So I haven't been diagnosed with lymphedema, but I'm a breast cancer survivor, so I've had lymph nodes removed. And before I thought it was mostly just fat, but now as I've been losing weight, thanks to great part to Nola Movement, like I'm noticing that it's still puffy, like in that area, and
Hmm.
it's because it's the lymph kind of getting stuck.
Yep.
So I'm just
Yep.
wondering if there's anything in particular I can do outside of like wearing compression sleeves or something, just that
Right.
might move it, like that I make more of a daily routine to try to get it moving a little bit more.
So I do know that dry brushing helps specifically with that But I think for you, you would want to brush away from the side where the swelling is. So let's say it's in your left arm, then brush towards your right, instead of just stopping at the heart, brush it, move it all the way across. Another thing, so what you could do, so we talked about deep breathing and we also talked about movement. What you could do is incorporate both, especially since it's in your arms. So sometimes when I teach chair yoga, we do chair sun salutation. So if you just take, I'm trying to scoot back so I can show you. So if you just take a deep breath and raise your arms and then, bring it down to your heart center and just keep doing that. Just breathe. But as you inhale, yeah, and then exhale, bring it down. So you can do the deep breaths and the movement in your arms at the same time. And I think that would help. I'm trying to think if there's anything else specifically for arms. I think those two things would definitely help. Yeah, because yeah, most of the poses were for lower body. I'm trying to think of another one. Let me think about that for another second. But yeah, definitely breathing and moving the arms at the same time, and then the dry brushing, just brush away from the side that's affected. Anyone else?
So I have to say that as you were getting ready to start talking to us about how we can jumpstart our lymphatic system, you started with the lemon water. I said, all right, yeah. 'Cause
Yes.
then you went to the dry brushing. I said, all right, yeah. I do that too. And then you got to the strigil, and I was like, what? So I do rebounding also, but I'm going to get a strigil.
Yes,
I think that's really important.
it is. It is. I
And I
love
think that
mine.
another thing that you mentioned that's really important that a lot of people don't realize is the total mind-body connection, because you
Yes,
started off talking about stress. And
right.
people just don't get that it impacts your body.
It really does.
Yeah.
And they say that our gut is our second brain, and so there's that connection between the gut and brain health. That axis, that's a whole other thing that maybe we can cover another
Yeah,
time. But yeah, that's a
you
that's a whole
should.
thing that they all of people don't realize. I didn't realize until I had issues of my own that yes, those things are connected. Everything's connected. So yes, I'm glad that was helpful. Anyone else? I'm peeking in the chat. Yeah, I don't see anything else.
You talked about did you say you had high levels of mercury or metal? And
Mercury.
okay, and so when you were having
Metal. Well, yeah,
metal, okay.
yeah.
So when you were having all of these symptoms, what kind of doctor finally figured out that
That's a good question. And it wasn't. And so here's the thing.
I know.
No, okay. So so I have a high amount of respect for people who work in the medical community, right? Physicians, nurses. However, none of them were the ones who diagnosed me. It was actually a functional medicine practitioner is, who was able to sit down and listen to all of my symptoms and was like, "Yeah, what's going on is in your ankle is related to your gut, just so you know." And I was like, "Wait, what?" And yeah. So she's the one who told me. But I will say, I am thankful for everything I've been through with my health because it has set me on my own healing journey and then my journey to help heal others. So I'm thankful for it. But when you're going through it, it's so frustrating when you're going to like this doctor and they're like, okay, well, yeah, I don't know. Or they'll get to you go to a new doctor and they're like, well, let's do all these tests. Let's x-ray it. Let's CAT scan it. Let's do this and do that. And then they're like, I don't know. They get to the end of their rope and it's, I don't know. And you're like, okay, well, I don't know either. I came to you because I was hoping you would know. So yeah. And I've been to several different types of doctors, and I've also been to several different types of healers. I've had Reiki. I have been to a shaman. I have been to, just medical intuitives. I've been to all different types of people. And but it was the functional medicine practitioner who was able to help me, at least point me in the right direction. But I feel like with any healer or practitioner that you work with, it has to be a collaborative effort.
Right.
So, you don't want to, yes, we want to go to someone and just have them heal us, right?
Right.
But we have to heal ourselves.
Mhm.
It's going to come with knowledge from outside, but we're the ones that are going to have to heal ourselves, especially when it comes to things that are related to our emotions or our stress. No one else can manage that for us. We're going to have to manage that for ourselves. So,
Right.
yes,
Thank you.
functional medicine,
You
you're
know, the
welcome.
reason I asked that question is because I've talked to other people who had mercury poisoning or, high levels of mercury or metals, and
Hmm.
it was not a traditional physician
Right, right.
because they practice differently. And most of them did go see like a functional medicine doctor. So
Hmm.
I just thought that was important for me to ask so other people could get
Yes,
that
I'm glad
information
you
too.
did.
Yeah.
And I'm also, so I don't see her anymore, but I am currently seeing a nutrition response practitioner.
Oh.
He is, for those who are local, he's in Sugar Falls, but he does muscle testing. And so he
Oh.
can help kind of pinpoint what's going on in your body as well. He's also a chiropractor, but I don't go to him for that. I just go to him for the nutrition response part of it. And I got that piece of information just from, I was in a Facebook group and somebody mentioned it in passing in one of their comments, and I was like, "Oh, let me Google and see what that's about." And so I'm glad to have found him. He's been very helpful as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I did something I said earlier. I don't remember. I don't remember what it was, but it just made me want to. I remember I wanted to share that there's a documentary on Netflix. I hope it's still on there, called Heal, and it has a lot of good information in it. Heal is where I came across, there's a guy who is known as the medical medium. I have a couple of his books. I follow him on Instagram and Facebook, and he has a lot of good information. So I think I have, yeah, Anthony William. I do. I have one of his books right here, Medical Medium. Anthony Williams. So he is he has a gift. He's amazing. But Heal, the documentary Heal, I don't know, it just popped up, so maybe somebody needed that information. That's really good. All right, I think I've talked everyone's faces off enough. I don't know, Nikki, do you have when does my book drop? It's coming. It's coming.
Listen, listen, I feel so blessed. Like, you know, you sound like whoosh, that's all. That is the emoji of me right now. Whoosh. Because and I think one of the last things that you said that I just jotted down is we have to heal ourselves.
Hmm.
We have to heal ourselves. And, something that I say really um, often is listen to your body, right? Listen to your body. And I think part of healing ourselves is really learning to listen to what is my body saying to me, right? And connecting, where am I feeling pain? Where am I feeling discomfort? What's going on there? And really giving ourselves the time and space. And I think this ties perfectly back to what you do as a yoga instructor, and the classes that you do for us, the yin and restore, and the slow flow classes, giving ourselves the time and space to move slowly
Yes.
and listen. And as I think about what I plan to take away from this is, obviously, like, I'm going to be attending your class regularly, because that's part of why we added it to the schedule, because I was like, I need some yoga, we need some yoga in here. And the
Awesome.
community has been asking for it, like, truly the community has been asking for it. But two, even just as simple as adding in, this is Fallon put this in the chat as well, but adding lemon to my water. And Mrs. Johnson, you've already got your lemon water over there,
Mhm.
but I am getting on board because I've gotten so much better about drinking my water consistently throughout the day. But just knowing that something as little as adding lemon, which I've heard before, like this is stuff that I know and I'm familiar with, but knowing how big of an impact that can have in addition to all the other things that I'm doing, moving
Right.
my body and the breath work and some of the other things. So I just feel so blessed. I feel so blessed for everything that you've shared with us tonight. I know that the community that watches this on replay is going to be so blessed by this information as well. Before we go, any other questions? I just want to make sure
You're
before
welcome.
we jump off.
The one thing I did want to say, the last thing I want to say while we wait to see if there are any more questions is not to be too hard on yourself, not to beat yourself
Mhm.
up during your healing journey where you are trying to, a lot of times, right? So let's say people want to change their diet or start working out and they pick a Monday. It's always a Monday. And they're like, on
From
Monday,
0 to 100.
yes, yeah, right. On Monday, I'm going to start. And then like they have this list of 25 things that you have not been doing for some time or maybe ever that you're going to start on Monday. In addition to all the things that you already do, like work and take care of your family and all that. So then it's like, all right, Monday comes and, you start hitting the things on the list and then, things kind of dwindle down and it's just, you might
And
lose
by
sight.
Wednesday, you're exhausted.
Yes. So
You're
please
like,
don't.
why did I agree to do all this?
Yes, I always tell people to just do, and this is so I told you everything I do, right? Except for I didn't tell you my day job is that I work in IT. And so what I always say at work and also in life in things like this is to change one variable at a time. You don't want to start changing a bunch of things at once for two reasons. One, you're not going to be able to maintain. And for two, if you change 50 things at once, you'll never know which thing was the thing that helped you. So try to just take baby steps and add one thing and then add another thing and then keep going and let it snowball rather than dumping it all in and then you're like, I don't know what just happened. Like, so take it slow and be easy on yourself.
Oh my gosh, I love that so
You're
much. I
welcome.
love that so much. Marquita, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for your
You're
time, for
welcome.
your energy. The ladies that are live on Zoom are dropping thank yous in the chat for you as well. So I just want to make sure you see those.
You're welcome. You're
Um,
welcome.
Ladies that are joining live, thank you for your time and your energy and your questions. You guys also help educate me as well, and I'm grateful for each of you. Marquita is kicking off some rest and restore, so yin and restorative yoga flow classes for us this month. Well, April, it's essentially April. We're just a few hours away from the new month.
Yes.
But her classes will be Wednesday evening next week, and then April 21st at 7:30 p.m. So we would absolutely love for you to join her in those classes. And now that I know this wealth of knowledge that you hold, we're gonna circle back. We're gonna do the gut and brain health because
Yes, please.
that
I would love to.
yes, that right there, I think is another critical conversation. Let's do it. And ladies, if you guys have ideas for different bonfire conversation calls, please don't hesitate to reach out. But that's it. We're going to hold to our time. We did about an hour tonight. If you have any questions that pop up for you later, drop it in the Nola Movement community. I'll make sure that it gets Marquita's attention, and we will make sure it gets answered for you. So keep taking care of yourself. I love the words that she left us with. Keep taking baby steps. Honor your journey. Give yourself grace, and we'll see you in class.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good night, guys.